Welcome, everyone. Hi, it's Diane Sharp here, Director of the Wharton MBA Program for Executive Admissions in Philadelphia. Today, we are here to give you information about financial aid. First of all, congratulations to all of you for being admitted to the program. We would love it if you would just start posting your questions in the chat function there along the way as they come up. If we don't get to them during the program, we will definitely get to them toward the end. We'll make sure you've gotten all of your questions answered. So joining me today is my West Coast counterpart, my better half, Barb Kraft.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
And the person leading our session today is Maxine Adekoya, the Senior Associate Director of Financial Aid.
Hi, everyone.
And I do want to give you guys one caveat. We got an email from our IT people about an hour ago. There are some funky internet issues going on, so there may be a little bit of a lag and stuff like that. But hopefully things will get smoothly during the program today. All right. Great. Thanks, Maxine. I'll turn it over to you.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. Again, welcome to the financial aid session. Before I begin really talking about financial aid options for executive MBA students, I do want to say congratulations on your admissions to the program. I'm sure it was no easy feat. So on behalf of myself and the entire financial aid crew, congratulations on your admissions to Wharton's MBA program. So let's get started here. And before I even begin, I wanted to mention I've been in the industry for financial aid for about 2.5 years, higher education for close to 15 years now. So this team and myself really look forward to working with each of you as you move through the process. So if you have any questions, definitely feel free to, I guess for right now, put them in the chat box. I'll do my best to answer them, as Diane mentioned earlier. And if you have other questions afterwards, feel free to shoot us an email. We'll provide the email address at the end of this session. Okay, so let's go through the slides. And if you wouldn't mind with the next slide, please.
Is it there yet? Yeah, there is a bit of a lag, it seems. Are you seeing the next slide with the breakout?
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. Okay. It's great now. Thank you. So we're going to get through this. This is, so I do apologize. I know there definitely is that lag there. So please bear with us. So typically the cost of attendance, as we review what the cost of attendance is for this academic year for you folks, you'll be looking at the tuition and fees. It includes the tuition and fees. It also includes your course material fees and room and board, right? So that gives you the total for the Wharton Executive MBA program for 2 years. You can see on the screen it's listed at $210,900 for the 2-year for the program itself. Note that the fees is actually billed 3 times during the course of each year, right? So you're looking at $35,150 for the first term, same for the second term, and then the same for the third term as well, right? So over the life of the program, $210,900. This amount that's listed there also, what it does is also gives you your potential for borrowing, so your borrowing potential. What that means is, say for instance, you were considering an educational student loan, you could go to a lender and say, hey, I'd like to take out a loan for this $210,900. If you actually went to educational lender and said, hey, I'm looking for a much higher than that 210, there's a high likelihood, and by that I mean 100%, that loan will get denied and pushed back to the $210,900, right? So just keep in mind that $210,900 is the threshold you have for borrowing potential for the Executive MBA program. So next slide.
I'll jump in here while the slide advances. It's going to take a second. So yeah, we will get the tuition cost for the 21 to 23 year, usually in the March timeframe. So we'll make that announcement as soon as we get the exact cost.
Okay, good. Thanks, Diane. So some of the funding sources that you have, I've had a number of students email within the past few days saying, well, how do I go about the process of applying for student loans? Some students will go through the route of taking out a student loan. Other students will self-fund, and other students may have the potential to borrow, to actually go through using military fellowship or funding, if you will. So the first thing I want to delve into today would be the student loans, educational student loans. If you are a domestic student, you have a few options here. So the first 2 buckets you see on the screen there, the first is the federal student loans, the second is the private student loans. with the federal student loans, you can either go with the direct loan, or you can go with the grad plus loan, or you can go with a combination of both of those, right? So if you're taking out a federal student loan, for the direct loan, it's capped at $20,500 for the academic year. So the cap on that is $20,500 for the academic year. Typically, as of right now, the interest rate for the direct loan is set at 4.3% with the origination fee at 1.062% or so. The origination fee simply means the application fee that lender is charging you to process the application, right? So for the federal loans, you can take out the direct loan, which is capped at $20,500. The second part of that would be your grad plus loan. So the grad plus loan can cover the rest of the cost of attendance for you. With the grad plus loan, you're looking at an interest rate of 5.3% with an origination fee of about 4.24%, right? And so typically, I know we've had a few students who will reach out to the office saying, hey, like with the change of administration, how's that going to affect, you know, if I took out a federal student loans? And the truth of the matter is of right now, no policy has been set. When policy is set, we'll definitely be able to convey that to you. But for right now, 4.3% for the direct loan, 5.3% for the grad plus loan. The beauty actually of taking out a federal student loan is that they tend to be a little bit much more flexible, right? So if you're a student who's actually looking for a little bit much more flexibility, then you may want to tap into the federal student loan. And what I mean by flexibility is, say for instance, after Wharton, you wanted to continue on education for, you know, you can actually hop on, you can actually defer your student loans. Say for instance, you're going into the nonprofit sector or the public service sector, if you will, you can actually sign up for a loan forgiveness program with the federal government. And there's stipulations for that. So you definitely want to make sure you take a look at those to be cognizant of exactly what the terms are for those. So federal student loans, if you're applying for those, please make sure that you also complete the MPN, which is the Master Promissory Note, and you also complete the entrance counseling, right? So those two items are necessary to complete your federal student loans. If you don't complete that, the funds just would not disperse to the institution. So when you complete the application for the federal student loans, please ensure you complete those two items, Master Promissory Note and then the entrance counseling. In addition to that, it typically takes between 4 to 6 weeks for any of the loans to process. So as you're reviewing the process of how to begin this application process, just keep in the back of your mind that it takes 4 to 6 weeks for you to apply for the loan and then for the funds to be certified and then dispersed to your account, okay? So for the federal student loans, I think that about covers it, the interest rates, origination fee. Also note that when you do apply for the federal student loan, you have to complete the FAFSA. When you complete the FAFSA automatically considers you for that $20,500 for the direct loan. So I've had students reach out saying, I didn't receive an application, or I can't find an application for the direct loan. So note that there is no application for it. The FAFSA automatically qualifies you for getting that $20,500 for the direct loan, right? There is, however, an application for the grad plus loan. So you complete the grad plus loan application, you complete the entrance counseling and the master promissory note with that as well. So that's your option for the federal student loans. Private loans for domestic students, they really vary, right? Typically, I've seen as low as about 2%. I've seen as high as up to about 10% for the interest rates. So do your research. If you do have a moment, I highly suggest you take a look at elmselect.com. So it's spelled ELMSELCET. And on this third-party website, Wharton is currently listed, and you can take a look at some of the different lenders that some of our students have used over the past. And it's a great way to just compare some of the different lenders rather than going through and applying for each lender or going to each lender's website. It's just one place where you can see a few lenders in one space. So definitely check out elmselects.com to do a comparison of some of the different lenders. It's not an exhaustive list, but it definitely does have a few different lender options there for you, okay? Again, same as with your federal loans, it takes about 4 to 6 weeks for this to process as well if you're going to go with the federal, if you're going to go with the private student loans, okay? So those are options for our domestic students. For international students who may be on the call today or listening in, you can actually go the route of Quorum Federal Credit Union. Typically, Quorum will cover 100% of your tuition and fees for the program, or you can look into Prodigy Finance. It's a company based in the UK. They cover about 90%, up to 90%, I should say, of the cost of attendance for you. So you can definitely explore those too. What I do want you to consider, however, is that although we have these two listed, you should still do your research and figure out if there are any lenders within your own specific home country that could have a more competitive rate than Quorum or Prodigy could provide you with. So definitely do some research there. If you do have a US-based a US citizen that can serve as a cosigner, you may want to also explore some of the private loan options as well, okay? So just to recap very quickly, for the federal student loans, definitely complete the MPN and the master promissory note. For all of these lenders, it takes 4 to 6 weeks for it to process. Diane, do you mind moving over to the next slide, please?
Not at all. Here we go.
Thank you so much. Okay, now for the military funding, some students would tend to go the route of, like, you know, leveraging some of the military funding sources that they have available. So for the GI Bill, you can leverage the GI Bill in addition to any other funding that you do have, as long as you're 100% eligible and if you're, you know, separated from active duty. And then for the Yellow Ribbon program, note that there actually is no cap for Wharton. So we don't have a cap on the number of students who can actually take advantage of the Yellow Ribbon program. We do, we award $20,000 for academic year, and that's matched by the VA by another 20K, so you're looking at about 40K there. In addition to that, please note that the Yellow Ribbon cannot exceed your total cost of the tuition and fees for the year, okay? Thank you. Okay, some of the things that I think would definitely provide shed additional light, I should say, for you is definitely taking a look at the Welcome website. We do have a bulk of information on the Welcome website, so please review the website. In addition to that, for post-graduation, note that you have the ability to apply for the Benheim Loan Forgiveness Program. I actually sit on the committee for that program. And what it is, it's actually funding that actually go towards the cost of any loans that you may have taken out over the course of your time at Wharton. The highest I've seen, it actually is capped at about $20,000 per year. You can apply for the loan forgiveness program up to 5 years after graduating from Wharton. And so your first year after graduating, you can apply for it, and then the next year and the next year, up until 5 years, I should say. Typically, the loan itself, the loan forgiveness program itself, typically goes towards students who are within the public service space, nonprofit, but it's opened up in the past few years or so to include students who are in the social impact field as well. So definitely take a look at this Benheim Loan Forgiveness Program if you feel that you may qualify that. Submit an application and the company will review that for you. As I mentioned earlier, up to $20,000, and it goes towards the reduction of your student loans. So your next steps. First, I definitely say you definitely want to take a look at your credit report and your credit scores. I think this will be really important as you begin the process of looking at some of the different educational loans out there and, you know, resolve any outstanding issues as you can. The next thing is access your personal resources, right? You want to make sure that you're actually taking care of any additional bill that you can as you move through the process. So that's one less thing you worry about. I'd mentioned earlier the website. There are tons of great information as far as the deadlines for your student loans. In addition to that, how the payment is dispersed to you, how to set up the payment plan, all that information is on our website. So take a look at the website. And then finally, you have me. So if you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to shoot my office an email regarding any questions that you have about the financial aid process whatsoever. On the next slide, we'll have the contact information as well. So definitely feel free to shoot us an email and we will be able to answer any questions that you have. And that email address is just financialaid@wharton.upenn.edu.